Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So big breaking news now is coming out of the mainstream media. It's stemming from Sky Sports, it's also stemming from Simon Stones in the BBC, and it's also stemming from the Telegraph. They're reportedly saying now that we have ended our interest in Paula Dybala. Couple of main factor reasons why we have ended our interest in Paula Dybala, with his reluctance to leave Juventus, and obviously we was very dubious anyway, whether he would join Manchester United, and I do believe we've also ended our interest because obviously with his substantial wage demands, and also with the agent fee. So these are the reasons, of course, why we've ended our interest in Paulo Dybala. So it has confirmed now that we've ended our interest in the current player. Obviously, as you all know, Dybala was demanding around 350 grand a week, to currently join Manchester United. So basically, he was demanding a significant pay rise, and I don't think, I think Manchester United were very sceptical, about giving him 350 grand a week, because obviously, we have got a lot of players in our team on big contracts. Obviously, Dybala at Juventus at the moment is only on around 120 grand a week. That equates to around £6.5 million a year, and he's still got 3 years left on his contract with Juventus. So the BBC have said now we have ended talks with Juventus because of Dybala's current wage demands, and I think he did say he wanted around £10 million a year, after current tax. But I did initially say earlier on this week, on one of my videos, I did say Dybala's move to Manchester United, could have hit a stumbling block, based on the wage demands, and the agent fees. I did initially say that because we do know earlier on this week that obviously, Paul Dybala's agent, obviously, had been in London. He held quite a few negotiations with Manchester United. Obviously, he also held secondary talks with Manchester United over the personal terms and that. I do believe also that the director of Juventus, he'd also I think he travelled to London. I think he also travelled to Manchester, to discuss Paul Dybala's potential move to Manchester United and all that. But I do believe, Paul Dybala has not yet, made a decision on his future. As I did update you on a previous video before these stories broke out saying that we'd ended our interest. It did report saying, that Juventus have given Paul Dybala until Monday, to decide, whether he's staying at Juventus or, of course, leaving Juventus. Because actually, Paul Dybala's actual preference is to remain in Turin. But obviously, recently, I think, Paul Dybala, there's been a bit of change of scenery because obviously Paul Dybala, has been forced to train on his own by Juventus, and I think, actually, Paul Dybala has obviously, become sad and infuriated about this, and he did initially say, he wants out of Juventus. That's what it basically said. Obviously, I think he returns to Juventus training tomorrow. It did say he's not allowed to return to training with Juventus until next week, until his transfer saga is resolved. But now Paul Dybala to Manchester United is definitely off. But, obviously, we've only been tentatively linked with Paul Dybala anyway. No real links have emerged. The links have actually emerged only in the last week or so, because Sky Italy, they came out earlier on this week, saying that Manchester United and Juventus have agreed a swap deal in principle involving Lukaku and Paul Dybala. But I did initially say, for that swap deal to go through, it basically hinged on Dybala agreeing a move and that to Manchester United. But he reportedly said he wanted around 350 grand a week. Obviously, that figure, would have made him the highest paid player in the Premier League. Also, would have made him, one of the highest paid players at the club. But I think, the wage demands have actually, one of the main factor reasons, of course, why we have ended our interest in Paulo Dybala. Like I said, we could obviously, afford, to give him, to meet his wage demands, and obviously, with us, so with us, obviously, offloading Lukaku as part of the deal, which we would have done. Obviously, it would have helped us with our wage bill. It would have give us it freed up funds to obviously, give Paul Dybala a significant pay rise. But obviously now we have currently ended our interest in the player. But like I said, with Paulo Dybala, I do think he's a very, very good player, and it's a shame this swap deal isn't going to go through, because I think, it made sense, because you've got Paul Dybala, that surplus to requirements at Juventus, you've got Romelu Lukaku, that surplus to requirements at Manchester United, and it initially said, Lukaku had agreed the personal terms with Juventus. It said he's set to earn around €9 million a year, which equates to just over 8 million in pounds sterling and that, and I think he said he was set to earn around 160 grand a week. So basically, for the move to go through, it was basically all dependent on Paulo Dybala. But now initially, he hasn't even made a decision on his future as Dybala, but we've decided now to end our interest in the player. But yeah, I do. It's a shame that he's not coming to Manchester United, because I would have liked him to come. You know, his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we do know that Dybala has been at Juventus for years, but I do think anyway. You know, he had strong reservations about joining Manchester United, because obviously, you know, we couldn't offer him like any Champions League football and that. And I think he had concerns that his trophy aspirations, you know, couldn't be matched by Manchester United. But you know, I thought there was some credibility in Dybala coming, but I was at the same time I thought, you know, this may not happen, because you know Dybala actually, you know, doesn't want to leave Juventus, but he is only 25 years of age, and I do believe he would have been a fantastic upgrade to the likes of Lingard and Juan Mata. Obviously, you know, he also would have added a bit more experience in our attacking line, and you know, he can score goals, Dybala, and he's, you know, proven this in the majority of his 4 years with Juventus. He has done well. He initially lost his place in the Juventus side last season, obviously, you know, to Cristiano Ronaldo, and I think actually recently Cristiano Ronaldo had his overarching view on it, and he actually, you know, instructed Paul Dybala to make a move to Manchester United, because obviously Ronaldo served 6 years at Manchester United when he was younger, so obviously he knows what it's like at Manchester United and all that. He's obviously had that experience, so obviously he's instructing Dybala, because maybe he thinks that, you know, that will be beneficial for you know, Dybala's career and all that. I do believe earlier on this week it did say that Dybala anywhere had liked an Instagram post, you know, urging him to reject a transfer to Manchester United. But like I said, Dybala's a very good player. I think he's predominantly a number 10. I think he can also play as a forward, and I would have loved him, you know, to play alongside the likes of Rashford, Martial, and you know, Daniel James and that, you know, Paula Dybala. He's still got 3 years left in his contract with Juventus. Obviously, he's won 4 Serie A's and 3 Coppa Italians with Juventus. I think he's been named in the Serie A Team of the Year on 3 occasions, reflecting on his impressive performances. And I think Juventus did pay around €40 million from Parma back in 2015. And like I did initially say, if Lukaku does leave the football club, obviously, you know, we are going to need a replacement for him. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, I think was excited about the prospect, you know, of Dybala coming in, because I think if he'd come to Manchester United, he would have succeeded. You know, he would have exceeded expectation levels, and I think he'd have all the attributes, you know, to come and succeed in the Premier League. I did say he was in my top 10 category, you know, was Dybala. I think there is better options out there than him, but I think, you know, now we've obviously ended our interest, because obviously, you know, Dybala himself has got reservations about coming to the club. Obviously, you know, we're not keen on meeting his wage demands and all that, and you know, we was very dubious, you know, whether, you know, Dybala wanted to join Manchester United. But recent reports did say now he wants to move away from Juventus, but maybe he may go to another team in the Premier League, or he probably, you know, just end up staying with Juventus. But I think he initially said, you know, recently, Dybala, that he still wants to fight his place back into the Juventus side. So yeah, it's not going to happen now, the swap deal between Dybala and Romelu Lukaku. But the good news, I actually know give you an update on my previous video, and I've been reading reports about it today. It's in regards to Mario Mandzukic. Now, reports, quite a lot of reports have been coming out with it today, and they have basically said that, you know, Manchester United have agreed the personal terms with Mario Mandzukic. It reportedly says on I think he's agreed a 3-year contract worth around £6.2 million a year. I think that equates to around 120 grand a week. And I do believe he's agreed a 3-year deal. Yeah, 6.2 million a year, equates to around 120 grand a week. And so yeah, I think he's got around a 35% increase on his wage as you know, Mario Mandzukic, because I think he's on around £90,000 a week with Juventus. Now he's going to. Obviously, you know, he's going to be available for a reasonable figure. I think the fee has been quoted out in the media, you know, what Manchester United have to pay. I think, you know, we only have to pay around £15 million for his services. But actually, you know, Juventus, I think, still want to get Romelu Lukaku. Juventus still want to get Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, you know, even if Dybala, you know, doesn't agree and move to Manchester United like it currently said. So now maybe now this has come up, you know, Juventus may orchestrate on including Mario Mandzukic in a swap deal for Romelu Lukaku, instead of obviously, you know, asking for a fee. So if Lukaku was part of the deal, obviously, you know, wouldn't be paying any fee for Mario Mandzukic. But, you know, Mario Mandzukic is coming to a halt of his career. You know, he's 33 years of age now. You know, I think he's probably got a year or two left in him before he currently retires. Maybe a bit longer. Obviously, he's been at Juventus 4 years as Mario Mandzukic, but his goal scoring pedigree is very, very good. And I think he's overall, you know, had a fantastic career as Mario Mandzukic. I think his aerial power is good. You know, his defensive contribution is absolutely fantastic. I think he's also very tall as well. You know, he's about 6'3". Is Mario Mandzukic, but he's come out today saying, and we've agreed the personal terms on that. He said it actually could be announced tomorrow about Mario Mandzukic, but he is 33 years of age. Like I said, he's been at Juventus 4 years. His stats are very impressive. I think for Juventus he's made 162 appearances. I think he's scored 44 goals and provided 24 assists in all competitions. I also do believe in his entire career so far to this point, I think he's scored 188 goals in 476 appearances. I think before he was at Juventus, I think he had a spell with Atletico Madrid. I think he also played for Bayern Munich. I think when he was younger, he played for Wolfsburg. Didn't he also play for Dynamo Zagreb, if I'm right? But he has got that endless potential, and he can score goals. Can Mario Mandzukic? But I've got some, I've got an element of concern, and that's obviously his age. But there again, he's available for a reasonable figure. Obviously, my preference would be Dybala ahead of Mario Mandzukic. But obviously, Dybala now you can say is basically out of the equation. So yeah, there's been a lot of stories going on today throughout the media, about Mario Mandzukic, because obviously Maurizio Sarri's confirmed he's no longer part of his plans, and he's no longer a part of his plans, and Mandzukic has obviously agreed to currently leave Juventus, so maybe he's on his way to Manchester United. So yeah, I'm very disappointed about the news about Paula Dybala. But like I said, so far this summer, we have spent a substantial amount. We spent 148 million pounds, as you all know. Obviously, we got Daniel James in. We've got Wan-Bissaka in. We have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far, because they have done really well throughout pre-season. Don't get me wrong with Daniel James. I'm still, he still needs time to develop. He's still basically a prospect, and there's still improvements needed in his game. We know with Daniel James, we've played him on the right a couple of times. I think he's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side, but I think he looks very, very good on that flank, with his electrifying pace. And I think, with Wan-Bissaka, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career, and I think, he can be our fullback for the next decade, because obviously before we got Wan-Bissaka in, we had issues at that fullback area, for quite some time. I initially said, before we got Wan-Bissaka in, we didn't have a good defensive right back, since we had the likes of Gary Neville, and I believe Wan-Bissaka's got all the attributes, to emulate into like what a Gary Neville or something like that. But yeah, I've been very, very impressed with them too. Obviously, we do know the news about Harry Maguire. He's going to be, I think it's going to be officially announced tomorrow, which is very, very good news. He's going to be officially announced tomorrow. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is obviously well, he said Harry Maguire could make his debut against Chelsea next week in the Premier League, which is absolutely fantastic. As you all know, we have agreed a world record fee of £80 million with Leicester. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers did confirm on Friday that Man United and Leicester had come to an agreement on a fee. Obviously, this £80 million figure is going to exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018, which was £75 million. But Harry Maguire now is the most expensive defender in the world. He did complete his medical yesterday. His contract and that has been sorted out. He signed a 5-year contract with the football club as Harry Maguire with an option of a further year, and I think it's worth up to around £200,000 a week is this contract. I think there may be bonuses included that obviously exceeds it to around 200 grand a week. So I do believe that Harry Maguire's wages have been currently doubled. Maybe we have overpaid for Harry Maguire a little bit, because I did say I did initially say, maybe £70 million, or maybe between £60 and £70 million, would have been reasonable, for Harry Maguire. But I did say over that mark, over that £60 or £70 million mark, I did say, we are, basically, paying too much for the current player. But I'm good now, we have got the deal over the line for him, because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer identified, Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. Obviously, even instructed Ed Woodward, of course, to get the deal over the line for Harry Maguire, because I think this was actually, following the serious knee injury that Eric Bailly sustained. Obviously, Eric Bailly's a huge doubt this season. Obviously, I think he's out till up to Christmas time. Is Eric Bailly. But I always said, we needed a world-class central defender. I always said that, because we haven't had a world-class central defender, since we had the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand and that, we haven't had a world-class central defender. And I do believe Harry Maguire is going to deliver the goods to Manchester United. And obviously, reflecting back last summer, it was our priority, to recommend a central defender to come in. But obviously, we didn't get our number one targets last summer, because the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend into the football club. But one of the players last summer Mourinho wanted was Harry Maguire. But there was quite a few players on Jose Mourinho's agenda last summer, who we didn't currently get. He was in for the likes of Harry Maguire. Dybala also didn't get him. We didn't even spend much last summer. We only got Diego Dalot last summer. We only got Fred last summer, and of course we only got Lee Grant last summer. So I did initially say that the last couple of windows anyway have been a huge disappointment, and our recruitment policy has been very, very poor in the last couple of windows. Obviously, we do know under Jose Mourinho, he was a long admirer of Ivan Perisic. Was relentlessly linked with Ivan Perisic, but we didn't get him because obviously we was reluctant to pay Inter Milan's asking price. But like I said, I'm very, very happy about the news about Harry Maguire. I do believe, Lindelof is going to be excited about the prospect of Harry Maguire, linking up with him in our current back line. And I know now we've got a lot of central defenders, so I do believe the club may orchestrate on selling one central defender. I think we've got around 7 now central defenders when Harry Maguire's move is officially announced. But I do believe we probably need to offload one. But we have bought central defenders in recent years. We obviously got Lindelof from Benfica a couple of years ago for £31 million. He was around 30 or £31 million. We got Eric Bay, obviously, for around £30 million from Villarreal. So he's obviously been at the club now over 3. He's been at the club now over 3 years as a Eric Bay. But I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected there with the amount of injuries he has sustained. But like I said, Harry Maguire is a better option than what we've currently got in our defence, because our defence as it is now, I haven't got the attributes like Harry Maguire's got, because Harry Maguire has got them attributes, and I think he will be a fantastic leader in our backline. And I think he has demanded that he does want to become captain of Manchester United and all that. And I think Manchester United will consider giving him the captain. But with Harry Maguire, he's very, very good in the air. His distribution's really, really good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's not very fast, Harry Maguire, but I don't think that's an issue. Also very tall as well, which is beneficial. Well Premier League proven, which is also beneficial. Only 26 years of age, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. So obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs obviously this season will be Harry Maguire and Vince Lindelof, because they're going to complement each other fantastically well. But with Lindelof, I was very impressed with him in his second season with Manchester United. I thought he really stepped up to the plate in his second season. I thought his distribution was good. He was showing that ability to play out from the back, and I thought Lindelof was really, really good in his second season. And I think in his first season he didn't really settle in. He did struggle for consistency, but I thought in his second season was fantastic, and I think he's done well so far in pre-season as Victor Lindelof. But anyway, Harry Maguire wanted to leave Leicester. He told Brendan Rodgers, he told his Leicester teammates the other week that of course he does want to leave Leicester to obviously rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level, because obviously a player of Harry Maguire's calibre and level, he's not going to want to spend the rest of his career with Leicester. He's not going to want to spend several years with Leicester. Obviously at some point he's currently going to want to move on. But yeah, he told Brendan Rodgers that he did currently want to leave Leicester, and Leicester basically said, look, we'll let you leave this football club as long as as long as we was willing to meet their £80 million valuation. In the end, we did in the end meet what Leicester were demanding. But for large portions of the summer, we was not willing to meet what Leicester were demanding. And did initially say for large portions of the summer that the valuation was the actual stumbling block, because for large portions of the summer we was only willing to pay up to £70 million. Don't forget, I was at £75 million. Don't forget, we had 2 bids turned down for Harry Maguire. We had 2 bids turned down for Harry Maguire. I think we had a £70 million bid turned down for him in earlier July. Reports actually said out, was it early on this week, saying that Leicester obviously wanted a higher transfer fee up front because obviously they were sceptical that we would qualify for the Champions League this season. We've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the 6 seasons since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But at last his transfer saga has come to an end, because we had been negotiating with Leicester for several weeks, coming to an agreement on a fee for Harry Maguire. But looking likely at one point, it was looking likely City were going to get Harry Maguire, because I think City, his actual preference was Manchester City ahead of Manchester United. At one point, City were going to give him around 280 grand a week. Obviously, City were going to get him for £80 million, but City, dropped their interest because City were not willing to pay what Leicester were demanding, because maybe from City's perspective they don't believe he's worth it, and I don't think he's worth what we've paid for him. But I still believe he's going to be absolutely fantastic for Manchester United. He's going to be absolutely fantastic. But like I said, it's more suggestions stirred up, and it fueled more speculation. Of course, when Harry Maguire was left out of Leicester's squad, again in their final pre-season game against Atlanta, Leicester did win that 2-1. So that's the suggestions. Obviously, you know, he was forcing the move. Basically, was Harry Maguire. He was forcing the move because obviously he was absent from training as well on Monday this week. He was absent from training on Monday this week, and obviously again that fueled more speculation. But you know, Damasio broke out the news early on this week. He basically said, he came out of the news regarding Harry Maguire, and he's basically said, Man United are in the, the final stages of coming to an agreement, for Harry Maguire. So obviously he's our third sign this summer, and it takes our spending up to around £148 million. I think it's £80 million. Actually, some reports were saying it was around £85 million. Some reports saying. I'm not too sure if add-ons are included. I think the Telegraph said there could be add-ons included. That could potentially rise to around 90 million. I'm not too sure about that. But yeah, like I said, I'm very, very happy about him coming in. Obviously, he did have 2 good years with Leicester, by the way. He made 76 appearances in all competitions. 69 of those appearances had come in the Premier League, and he signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer. So, he initially did sign a long-term contract with them last summer. He's still got, I think, 4 years remaining now on his contract with Leicester. He did have 4 years, on his contract with Leicester, because he was initially still in the contract with them until 2023. Leicester only paid around, £17 million for his services from Hull. So, Leicester have made a huge profit on the play, and I think this is what Brendan Rodgers is satisfied about. Brendan Rodgers had his overarching view on the situation with Harry Maguire, and he basically said what? No, what it? All right. So I think, Brendan Rodgers had his overarching view, and he actually said early on this week, that he dismissed speculation, said that Man United were close to signing Harry Maguire. He also said, Harry Maguire was actually no closer to leaving Leicester for Manchester United. But I knew, this deal was going to get over the line anywhere, so I'm very, very happy about it indeed. But I still believe, we still need more further investment when Harry Maguire is fully confirmed. Like I said, we still need 2 new additions in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. And we've been in search for a right winger for the majority of the summer, but I'm sceptical about a right winner coming to Manchester United. I do believe we need to sell players. We definitely need to sell players because these are problematic players at the football club that do need to go. A prime example, Darmian needs to be sold, Rojo needs to be sold, and I think we can generate around maybe £35-40 million of their departures. Rojo's career has been mainly affected with the injuries sustained. With Darmian, I think he's enjoyed a very, very, very difficult time with the club, so I think we need to get rid of them. I think we've put around the 20 million valuation on Rojo, but I don't think any team has come up with an offer as yet. So yeah, I think we definitely need to sell players. You've got the likes of Smalling and Jones, they're no longer good enough for Manchester United. They've been 2 long-serving players at the football club. And again, Harry Maguire is going to be a fantastic upgrade to the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones. But Smalling and Phil Jones, we have seen glimpses of how good they can be, in the time they've been at Manchester United. But they're aging up now, they're too inconsistent, and they're going to find game time difficult this season anyway. When now we've got Harry Maguire in, obviously Lindelof is one of our first choice centre-backs, so they're going to find game time very, very difficult. And Smalling and Jones have been, injury prone, they've actually been quite injury prone as well. So we have got quite a few injury prone defenders. Eric Bailly's won, Rojo's won, Smalling's actually won as well. Phil Jones, he's sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But there has been quite a few long-serving players at the football club. I said De Gea, he's been here 8 years. The good news is he's agreed a 6-year contract with Manchester United, worth up to around 375 grand a week. So it's good that he's staying at Manchester United. Obviously, we've got Ashley Young, he's been at Manchester United now 8 years. You've got Martial, he's been here now over his 5 years. You've got Juan Mata, he's been here now over 5 years. Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, 3 players have left the club, but obviously Valencia left at the end of last season, but he was also a long-serving player at Manchester United. Obviously never really got the chance anywhere last season. Obviously Herrera, he was a long-serving player with the club, he left. Obviously Fellaini had served around 6 years at Manchester United, but obviously he left back in January. So there has been quite a few long-serving players that have left the club. Obviously there's still some long-serving players here now at Manchester United. But like I said, guys, these are still lots to address in the squad. But I do believe we'll have a better season this season, without a shadow of a doubt. I think we'll have a better season. I'm still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league, because I think we're at least a couple of years off winning the league. We haven't won the league, for over 6 years now. We haven't won it since 2013. Obviously, that came in Alex Ferguson's last season. Obviously, we have won 13 Premier League. We've won 20 more in all. But I do do believe, you know, we'll at least a couple of years off winning it. I do believe this season, I think we'll probably finish in the top 4, maybe in the top 3, maybe in even the top 2. I think we'll finish in second, but I don't think, you know, we'll currently win the league. But I think our expectations anyway this season will be to finish in the top 4, you know, and, you know, maybe win some silverware. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to exceed these expectations. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the other week was talking about our ambitions. You know, he, you know, believes we'll be aiming for further up than 4, because his objective is to get Manchester United back to being a competitive league level football club. You know, get us back up there, challenging, and of course winning silverware. Because, you know, we have lacked silverware, you know, for the past 5 or 6 years. You know, we've won a couple of trophies here and there. You know, we didn't win out under the Moyes era. You know, won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era. You know, won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. But, you know, we have been inconsistent there for the last 5 or 6 years. But it was a huge disappointment last season. You know, we finished 6th. Obviously, you know, we failed to qualify for the Champions League, and, you know. So I think we're going to have a better season this season. But, you know, to be fair to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, he's give his overarching view on this window, and he did explain how much of a difficult window it is, because it is a difficult window, and it's not always easy, you know, to get all the players that you do want, you know, especially when you're not in a Champions League football. But Solskjaer said, you know, we need to be patient, you know, in this current window. Obviously, the board did assure that there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. They did assure there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer, and initially, I did say to the board, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players that he does want, and you can say the board have let him down, and, you know, we'll start criticising the board and all that. But I do believe Ed Woodward has been working on deals. He's obviously, you know, been overseeing our current transfer business. But like I said, guys, yeah, so I do believe, you know, we're probably going to do more of a transfer activity. You know, well, I should hope we're going to anywhere. Obviously, there's nearly just 3 days now remaining of this transfer window. But like I said, you know, we need further more investment in the squad. Because obviously, you know, we've got teams now that are investing well, that have been investing well in this window. You know, Liverpool, they've invested well in the last couple of windows. They haven't bought anyone this summer. You know, you've got Arsenal. You know, they started the window bad. You know, don't forget Arsenal only got a tight budget. They only got around 40 or 45 million pounds to spend in Arsenal. But obviously, you know, they've done it really, really well lately. They've turned it around in the market, and they've just got Nicolas Pepe for 72 million pounds. That got confirmed earlier on this week. Obviously, you know, they got William Saliba from Saint Etienne. You know, they're still in, I think, for Kieran Tierney. You know, they're working on getting that deal over the line. Also, they got Daniel Ceballos on loan from Real Madrid, was it? So Arsenal are doing a pretty good business, and I think they'll probably have a better season this season. Probably their objective will be top 4, just like ours, because we're sort of like on the same level as Arsenal at the moment. You know, you've got you know, Leicester. They've obviously, I think, bought a couple of players. They got Yori Tillmans and Perez in. You've obviously Chelsea can't do any transfer activity in the next couple of windows, because obviously, you know, they have got a current transfer ban. You know, there's issues at Chelsea at the moment. Obviously, they lost Eden Hazard. Obviously, Mauricio Sarri left at the end. Was it at the end of last season? Obviously, he's returned to Italy now. Is it Juventus? Chelsea, like I said, they got this transfer ban for tapping around minors. So I think it's they can't do any transfer activity for the next couple of windows. Obviously, you know, going into Italy, you know, Juventus are doing really good business in this window. You know, they've done really good business in this window. You know, they got Matthijs de Ligt for 75 million or something like that. You know, they spent an extortionate amount on Ronaldo last summer. They also got this summer Adrian Rabiot and Aaron Ramsey. So Juventus have spent quite a bit of money, and also they've got players on big contracts with Juventus. So like I did say, they would be open to selling their players to obviously help them generate funds and, you know, free up their wage bill and stuff. This is why one of the players who wanted to offload, of course, was Paula Dybala. But like I said, Man United, we have ended our interest. And going into Spain, you know, Real Madrid have done good business this summer. They've spent over £300 million, or is it just £300 million on 5 players? You've got Atletico Madrid that have done really, really good business. You know, with Tottenham in the Premier League, you know, they're looking to do more of a transfer activity. You know, they've signed 2 players this summer. But like I said, we've got to get our number 1 targets, of course, you know, that can elevate Manchester United forward, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking to build a squad worthy of the club's history. But, you know, Solskjaer's actual preference was at the end of March, you know, was to get our transfer business completed, you know, by the time, you know, went on pre-season. But obviously, you know, that didn't completely happen. But, you know, I can't wait until next week, you know, for the opening day of the Premier League season. You know, we go up against Chelsea. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's obviously got more of an indication now of what squad, you know, he's going to go with against Chelsea. And I do believe in the Premier League this season. Obviously, this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. And obviously, you know, he's had time, you know, to address things throughout the course of the summer and that. And, you know, obviously he's been analysing our games in pre-season. So he's obviously going to, you know what, you know, team to go with against Chelsea. But I do believe in the Premier League this season. The majority of the players, you know, will get the chance. You know, the young players, the fringe players, you know, the experienced players, and more or less, you know, everybody had been given a chance throughout pre-season. But what a pre-season, you know, we had. You know, won 6 games, MR6. Well, you can say 5 wins and 1 draw, but if you want to count as winning on penalties, you can say 6 wins out of 6. Obviously, you know, 12 goals scored, only 3 goals conceded. But I thought the young players, you know, did really, really well throughout pre-season. You know, I thought Mason Greenwood was absolutely fantastic. You know, he could be in contention to play against, you know, Chelsea. Obviously, you know, Greenwood's going to get promoted into the first team. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has assured him, you know, more chances this season, which is fantastic. You know, with Chong, you know, still a bit sceptical about Chong at the moment. You know, he's still inexperienced. You know, some people said maybe, you know, loan Chong out maybe for this season because it may be brighter for his future. You know, he'll obviously gain him a bit more experience. But Chong did well in pre-season, to be fair to him. You know, you got Angel Gomez. We saw how glimpses of how good he was. But some people said maybe we should also, you know, consider loaning Angel Gomez out. I think McTominay, you know, he'll definitely get his chance in the Premier League this season. He was fantastic in pre-season, was McTominay. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm still sceptical about McTominay, and I don't know if he's got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United, you know, but, you know, he's still got a lot of development in him. You know, he did well towards the back end of last season, did McTominay, and he's done well in pre-season, but I still don't know if he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. You know, I've got the same thoughts about Andres Pereira. You know, we're seeing glimpses of how good he can be. You know, he did well in his loan spells with Granada and Valencia, and that did Pereira, and he's done quite well in pre-season, but, you know, I'm still sceptical about him. You know, I've got the same thoughts about, you know, Fred. You know, Fred, I think the likes of Fred, McTominay and Pereira, you know, they're much better solutions than Matic, because I think they're all better, they're more mobile and better on the ball than the Nemanja Matic, because you do know that I have got strong concerns about Matic. You know, he's too slow, he's not very, very good in the air. You know, he's too inconsistent in that midfield, and he's too imbalanced. So really, you know, he shouldn't be first choice Matic in that midfield. So, you know, obviously he was first choice last season was Matic, because he has been at the club a couple of years, and I think we overpaid for Matic. I believe, you know, we also overpaid for Fred. But analysing our midfield at the moment isn't good enough. I think also in pre-season, Diego Dalot's been fantastic in pre-season. I think Alex Tuanzebe, we're seeing glimpses of how good he's been. Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka have been fantastic. I've also think Martial and Rashford have been fantastic. With Martial and Rashford, you know, they did really well in pre-season. You know, there was inconsistent towards the back in the last couple of months of last season. You know, Matic and Rashford were poor. Even Jesse Lingard was poor. You know, but I did initially say, you know, they still are the long-term solutions for Manchester United. But, you know, with Martial and Rashford, they can both play out wide, they can both play centrally. But I think with the club will orchestrate on playing Martial more central this season, because Martial, you know, does seem to be more effective in that central position, as we have, as it has, you know, been proven, you know, throughout pre-season. You know, some people say Rashford looks better cutting in from the flank, or some people say, you know, Rashford looks better centrally. Initially, I think Rashford and Martial look better centrally, but Martial, I think, actually, you know, primarily plays off the left. But as I've been seeing these games in pre-season, I can see the vast improvements in the squad. You know, we do look much better in that attacking third of the pitch. You know, we've got a lot more pace now. You know, and that's something we lacked last season. This is why last season we didn't score enough goals. This is why, of course, we didn't. Wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. But, you know, we look much better. You've got Daniel James with good pace. You've got Martial and Rashford and that with good pace. So we do look much better in that attacking third of the pitch. And that's an area that is very essential, because you need to have that pace up front, of course, to get you goals and that. And we have now got it there. But I did initially say we still need more experience up front. But it was a fantastic pre-season. Like I said, I really enjoyed, you know, watching the games. The only game I didn't watch was the AC Milan, but we had 2 good victories in Australia. You know, 2-0 against Perth Glory. You know, 4-0 against Leeds United. Then obviously, you know, it was the third game was against Inter Milan in Singapore. You know, won that 1-0. And then obviously, you know, we went out to Shanghai. You know, beat Tottenham 2-1. That was the real you know, real tester for Manchester United in pre-season, was the actual Tottenham game, but we won that 2-1. And then obviously, you know, after the Tottenham game, you know, we obviously, you know, went to Norway, you know, beating Christian Sunday 1-0. Wasn't the best of performances, but, you know, we still won the game. And if we didn't, you know, we had a hell of a lot of chance in that game. And obviously, you know, the final game, we beat AC Milan in Cardiff on penalties 5-4. So overall, very, very good pre-season. You know, there were quite a few players that didn't play out on pre-season. You know, obviously Sanchez didn't, because I do believe Sanchez has been injured. I think Sanchez sustained an injury, you know, whilst he was on Copa America due to with Chile, Sanchez. And obviously Sanchez definitely needs to improve this season, because this season, the Premier League, you will will get given his chances. You know, Sanchez hasn't exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United as we all thought he would have done. Obviously, he currently arrived in January 2018. He came to Manchester United as part of a swap deal with Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal, but Sanchez has obviously been a huge disappointment for Manchester United. Obviously, that's goals, being so inconsistent. And this year, hasn't been first choice, but he has been given his chances, and he's been a huge disappointment. So hopefully, somewhere along the line, he can improve this season when he gets given his chances. We tried to offload him this summer, but obviously the club found it difficult, reflecting on his substantial wages, and he's come injury prone. He sustained quite a few injuries last season as well, did Sanchez, but he's no future at the club anyway. He's 30 or 31 years of age, and he's quite a few aging up players in our squad. We've got quite a few upcoming players, which is good. There's a few fringe players, yeah, and Lukaku, obviously, he didn't make one appearance on pre-season tour because obviously he travelled to the likes of Australia, and he travelled to Australia. Others he travelled to Singapore, and that was, and I think he travelled to China. But Solskjaer did basically say his overarching view on it was that Lukaku was injured. He had some kind of ankle problem. That's why he didn't play. Obviously, he wasn't even part of the Norway squad. I don't even think he was part of the squad going to Cardiff and that. Lukaku, because obviously he wants to leave Manchester United. Obviously Darmian, he also didn't play on pre-season because he served his 2 requirements at the football club. So there was quite a few players that they didn't play out on pre-season. But like I said, looking forward to the season next week. I do believe I didn't actually see City Liverpool game today in the Community Shield, did I? Well, last time I saw it was 1-0 at Manchester City. Didn't end a draw, didn't go penalties. If I'm right, I'll have to look at currently up anywhere. And yeah. Obviously, keeping up to date of what's, going on with Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, I think he's definitely leaving Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, I think he's set to leave Sporting Lisbon after their game this evening against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup. I think now recent reports have indicated outside that Real Madrid vented the race. So reportedly now we are orchestrating on, putting a bid in for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, of what recent reports have said about Real Madrid now, of course, entering the race. Obviously, reports have emerged out this week, saying that Tottenham, of course, have, they've stepped up their interest in the player. Obviously they've been in for him throughout the summer of Tottenham. They've been in for him, then they've been out for him. But it's been mainly Manchester United that have been in for Bruno Fernandes. But Tottenham obviously held talks with Sporting Lisbon. Well, they've been in talks with Sporting Lisbon. Confirmed this week. Obviously, Tottenham actually flew out. Chefs had flown out to Portugal to go meet up with Federico Varandas. To possibly get a deal finalised there for Bruno Fernandes and all that. So basically, we do know it fueled more speculation, obviously, about Bruno Fernandes when obviously he left Sporting Lisbon's training ground on Friday morning. Obviously, he had discussions there with Federico Varandas, but he left Sporting Lisbon's training ground on Friday morning, to after a meeting to finalise his transfer exit and that. So he met up with the Juventus director and the Juventus the Sporting director and the Sporting Lisbon president to obviously finalise his move away from Juventus. So him and his agent, currently met up with them. But his agent obviously has been to the UK quite a few times to thrash out a deal with Manchester United, or to try and thrash out a deal with Manchester United. But I'm still hopeful that Bruno Fernandes can come in. It reportedly said yesterday that after that game this evening of Sporting Lisbon, he's set to be confirmed as a Manchester United player, reportedly. But recent reports have actually said now that actually Bruno Fernandes' actual preference is a move to Tottenham over Manchester United reportedly, because like I said, Tottenham's actual preference now is to recommend the number 10 in. Obviously they are in search for an attacking midfield. Tottenham have had quite a few players on their agenda. They've been in for Giovanni Lo Celso for the large portions of the summer. They haven't come to an agreement on the fee with Real Betis. Tottenham had a £52 million bid turned down for him. Real Betis will sell him, but they want around £70 million. Obviously you've got with the Bruno Fernandes situation, Sporting Lisbon obviously want around 63 or 64 million pounds for him. They initially did say the value him at around 70 million pounds, but we've been emerged as the favourites for quite some time of getting Bruno Fernandes. But I did say for the majority of the summer, basically Sporting Lisbon's valuation has seen to the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United, because obviously for quite a long time we haven't been willing to meet what Sporting Lisbon are currently demanding for the player, because at one point we was only willing to pay around £50 million for his services. But it reported out early on this week saying that we had reached an agreement in principle to sign Bruno Fernandes. It also said basically that Bruno Fernandes informed his Lisbon teammates that he's expected to leave the club, but Damasio he came out with it came out with in regards to Harry Maguire on this week. He also said about the same thing about Bruno Fernandes, saying that Manchester United are close to signing Bruno Fernandes, and this is what basically said. And at that point, when it came out from Damasio, it looked very very imminent. But quite recently there's been a change in scenery because Tottenham have now entered the equation. But definitely, Bruno Fernandes is going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, the boss of Sporting Lisbon has had his overarching view on the speculation about Bruno Fernandes. He's coming to accept the fact now, that Bruno Fernandes wants to leave. Federico Varandas, he came out early on this week and he revealed how much, it'll cost, to, convince Sporting Lisbon to offload Bruno Fernandes. But, Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United for the entirety of the summer, has not been dependent on, what happens there with Paul Pogba. And it hasn't been dependent on, what happens there with Paul Pogba, because you heard nonsense coming out early on this week saying that obviously it was only last weekend saying that we'd actually agreed a fee with Sporting Lisbon instead of 62 or 63 million pound fee had been agreed. It said last week he was actually set to fly to the UK for his Manchester United medical ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. So that's what it basically said, and he's 24 years of age, but I know how much he'd dramatically improve our midfield because he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, his tenacity is good, his work ethic is good, he's also very very good from set pieces, and him coming to the Premier League would be beneficial for his career. But I did say with us not having Champions League football and Tottenham having Champions League football, that could go against us of getting Bruno Fernandes. So maybe Bruno Fernandes wants to be in Champions League football. Obviously, he hasn't really had the experience of playing in Champions League football. He has played in it, but he hasn't really got a lot of experience of playing in it. He hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level. But yeah, now possibly we could miss out on Bruno Fernandes. So maybe he isn't, coming out to Manchester United. So actually, our fourth signing, could, according to recent reports, could be Mario Mandzukic from Juventus. So if we spent £148 million this summer so far, we get Mario Mandzukic for 15 million. That's if Juventus don't demand Lukaku as part of the deal. We'd be paying a 50 million fee, so it'd take up to around 163 million pounds spent so far this summer, basically on 4 players. But if we still have to get Bruno Fernandes, obviously he's going to cost us over £60 million, so that would take our spending spree up to over £200 million there. But this is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said we was not intending on overspending on our transfer tax. Quite a few people said we should be sensible over our current recruitment, but there has been a lot of speculation throughout the course of summer, players coming in and of course players going. There has been a hell of a lot of speculation, but for me, there's still definitely improvements needed in the squad. Even when Harry Maguire comes in, if we can get one midfielder in, I'll probably be happy with that. I'd say we need 2 new midfielders in. That's if Paul Pogba left the club, we'd need 2 new midfielders in. Don't get me wrong, if we sold Paul Pogba, we'd generate a substantial amount of money and it would help us with our rebuilding process. But in a way, it wouldn't be good business from the club. Say we sold Paul Pogba for 150 million and we got 3 players for around 150 million. We're basically just spending what would generate from his departure. So that isn't really good business. And we're not that kind of club that does that. We're a big massive club. With massive revenues and that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy anyway. He said at the end of last season he believes he's following a policy that proved successful under Alex Ferguson, of course. But obviously I know what squad Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to rebuild, and we had a great team back in the Alex Ferguson generation. We had a fantastic team and all that. But I hope Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to rebuild a team what can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson and that. And but yeah, there's still so that's really the latest news. So the main part of this video was to give you the latest news about Paul Dybala. We have now ended our interest in the player due to his current wage demands, due to the age fees and that. And obviously, we was very dubious, if Dybala, ever wanted to join Manchester United. And I think the player himself has got reservations about joining the football club. So yeah, Dybala now to Manchester United is off. So that's just one thing to update you with. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, nearly on 100 subscribers now, so I thank you all for currently following me on this channel. I do really appreciate it. So like I said, take care, God bless guys, and I'll talk to you all again very soon. I will be back on tomorrow now, so thank you.